Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a woman left brain damaged tells us about her ordeal as her attackers jailed for 9 years. Carol O'Reilly had to have 3 brain surgeries after the man she was on a date with assaulted her.
It could have been a murder. I could have died. And my kids would have been left without a mum.
Questions have also been raised about how the police dealt with the incident. Also on tonight's programme, an NHS doctor and her husband are jailed for 10 months for selling stolen hospital PPE on eBay.
I think it's a disgrace that a clinician working for the health service would be involved in dealing with stolen NHS property at any time, but particularly during the pandemic.
Dr Atia Sheikh and her husband Omer made almost £8,000 from selling stolen gloves, face masks and wipes. Tall ships from around the world are arriving in Aberdeen ahead of a weekend of events. And we're in Orkney for the last day of an Island Games, which has left quite an impression on locals and visitors alike. Hello, I'm Laura McKeever. Welcome to Friday's programme. Carol O'Reilly spent 6 months in hospital after Michael Harvey, a man she'd shared a few dates with, assaulted her in Glasgow city centre in 2023. Today, he was sentenced to 9 years in prison for her attempted murder. Police Scotland were called to reports of Harvey assaulting Carol twice in the space of just 24 hours. Carol says she feels she's been failed by them. Police Scotland referred itself for investigation over the actions of officers that night. Our reporter Sarah McMullen has been to meet her.
It wasn't just physical external injuries, was it? You had to have brain surgery?
Aye, 3 operations. Because I had to remove part of my skull, but they put it back in after 5-6 weeks.
So it's been a long road.
Yep.
So after you had those operations, you were telling me a bit about what you had to learn to do again.
Aye, walk, talk, swallow.
Carol spent 6 months in hospital because of this man, Michael Harvey. This is him calling an ambulance for the injuries he inflicted on her.
I went into the shower and the next thing you know, man, she was just lying underneath the water. So I turned the water off immediately and I dragged her out the bathroom and I've laid her in the recovery position, dragged her off with the towel and then she started foaming out the mouth.
A broken back, neck, cheekbone, 3 brain surgeries and a long rehabilitation. She says she now struggles with simple tasks.
Put a bobble in my hair. Can't put a bra on either. I've got to wear a sports one. I don't know, I'm just tired all the time. Don't really go out that much. Don't trust people.
Carol has questions over how police handled events that night.
Like why? Why did they leave me with him, put me in the back of the van with him?
Police attended Waterloo Street in Glasgow in the early hours of the 1st of October 2023. They'd received 3 999 calls from passers-by about Harvey's assault. That assault was captured on CCTV. These are the moments just before it. The actual footage is too graphic to broadcast. Michael Harvey was not arrested. The court heard he'd talked his way out of handcuffs. Instead, Carol says she was taken to Glasgow Royal Infirmary in the back of a police van with her attacker. Harvey made her leave without receiving medical treatment. This image shows him carrying her back to the hotel where the assault continued. Hotel staff raised the alarm the next morning. Police were called to help Carol for the second time in less than 24 hours. This time, she was unconscious.
Because it could have been a murder. I could have died. And my kids would have been left without a mum.
Police Scotland said they established no criminality when they first attended the scene on Waterloo Street. They referred themselves to the Police Investigations and Review Commissioner after the incident, who made one recommendation which they say has been implemented. She says today brings some closure, but she's still left wishing for things she had before.
To be a mum again. Obviously, it's hard being a full-time mum. But I was always active. with them. Like I did stuff like that.
Carol O'Reilly there. Well, Sarah joins me now in the studio. Sarah, what more do we know about the investigation into the circumstances here?
Well, Laura, as you heard in my report, Police Scotland referred itself to the Police Investigations and Review Commissioner, which is also known as PARC, over Carol's case. And their findings were handed to the Chief Constable in early of December last year. Now, Carol says she asked PARC for the findings of that investigation and was told that they could not be given to her because of reasons around confidentiality. We have managed to establish that one recommendation was made to police, which it says has been implemented, but neither PARC or Police Scotland will tell us what that recommendation is. Now, most importantly, Carol O'Reilly has never seen the report into the actions of officers that night, and she still does not have any access to it.
OK, Sarah, many thanks for now. And details of organisations offering support for victims of domestic abuse are available at bbc.co.uk/actionline, or you can call for free at any time to hear recorded information on 0800 888 809. That's 0800 888 809. It's difficult to imagine a more egregious breach of trust. Those are the words of a sheriff in sentencing an NHS doctor today. Atia and Omar Sheikh admitted selling stolen PPE during the COVID pandemic. They were each sentenced to 10 months in prison. Katrina Renton has the story.
Dr. Atia Sheikh and her husband Omar Sheikh arrive at court.
Are you ashamed of yourself, Dr. Sheikh, an NHS doctor? Are you ashamed of yourself?
They have previously admitted they sold stolen NHS PPE, including gloves, face masks and wipes, online during lockdown, a time when the NHS was struggling to get equipment. Today they were sentenced.
As a doctor, you clearly knew that this PPE was essential for your colleagues' safety and by extension their families. In fact, it is difficult even for those of us who work day in, day out within these courts to imagine a more egregious breach of trust, not only in respect of your colleagues, but in respect of the general public. You did this together out of sheer greed.
Dr. Atia Sheikh was a locum doctor working shifts at Hairmyres Hospital in East Kilbride. She said she did not steal the PPE from the hospital, but was given it by another worker in the car park. The Sheikhs went on to sell the PPE online. They were caught after a specialist NHS supplier's brand name was spotted on the boxes of gloves. The eBay accounts they were sold from were traced to the Sheikhs. A warrant was granted to search the Sheikh's flat just outside Glasgow. Officers found 121 boxes of gloves in the converted loft.
These are the gloves that were seized from the Sheikh's attic. Now, we understand they were being sold online for £15 or £20 a box. And in the time between the 30th of May and the 7th of October 2020, when they were caught, the Sheikhs made almost £8,000 selling stolen PPE online.
I think it's a disgrace that a clinician working for the health service would be involved in dealing with stolen NHS property at any time, but particularly during the pandemic. We were short of PPE. It's there to safeguard the staff and patients. So for a clinician to actually be dealing in stolen rubber gloves is just it's a disgrace.
Dr. Sheikh's lawyer said she bitterly regrets her actions, as indeed she should. She lost her job as an NHS locum doctor and is now unemployed. He said she acknowledges the significant breach of trust the offence represents and the potential harmful impact both on her colleagues and on society more generally. Her husband, Omar Sheikh, said he accepts responsibility for his actions.
5 years after committing the crime, the Sheikhs each now start a 10-month prison sentence. The sheriff said it would have been the maximum 12 months, but for their guilty plea. Katrina Renton reporting Scotland at Paisley Sheriff Court.
The lawyers for the nurse Sandy Peggy have accused her employers NHS Fife of acting irresponsibly in releasing an extensive statement about the employment tribunal currently taking place. Ms Peggy was suspended from her role last year after she objected to Dr Beth Upton, who is a transgender woman, using female facilities at a hospital they were both working at. Ms Peggy took NHS Fife and Dr Upton to an employment tribunal, with evidence continuing today. Our reporter Stephen Godden has the latest.
It was another day of witness evidence from NHS Fife colleagues of the main protagonists in this tribunal, nurse Sandy Peggy and Dr Beth Upton. But the hearing finished with discussion of an unexpected contribution from the Health Board itself, a statement, it said, to clarify its position on various matters related to the case. Now, in the lengthy document, NHS Fife says it recognises the clear public interest in the tribunal. But the debate, it claims, has evolved into much more worrying behaviour aimed at some staff, including a threat of physical harm and sexual violence, which has required the involvement of Police Scotland. Sandy Peggy's legal team raised concern about the publication of the statement with the tribunal judge. They argued that the wording sought to equate threatening behaviour from members of the public with the actions of people connected to Sandy Peggy's case. That, the lawyer said, was improper, irresponsible and potentially dangerous. Now, the lawyer representing both NHS Fife and Dr Beth Upton described that argument as a bit of a stretch, but she added that because this hearing has taken place in public, NHS Fife witnesses have been subjected to a very unsafe environment in which threats have been made. Now, the tribunal judge said the panel would take the weekend to think more about the matter, but he finished by saying that no participant in these proceedings should in any way feel intimidated. If that has happened, he says it's a matter for the criminal court and should be reported to Police Scotland. Stephen Godden reporting Scotland, Dundee.
About 115,000 recorded calls to Police Scotland's non-emergency 101 line have been deleted due to a technical fault. BBC Scotland News has learned the problem was discovered in February 2025. Our reporter Katie Hunter is here with us now. So Katie, what more do we know about this?
Well, Laura, the 101 line is used for non-emergencies, for example, a stolen car, perhaps suspected drug dealing. And these calls are meant to be archived for 6 years because they might be needed further down the line, say for a court case or dealing with a complaint against the police. But Police Scotland has confirmed that about 115,000 calls made between the 5th of January and the 3rd of February this year were not archived due to a technical fault. But although the calls were deleted, the force says that details like the duration, the caller's number and typed up notes of the discussion are still available. Now, in a statement, Police Scotland says the fault was discovered in February, it was quickly rectified and it didn't impact the ability to answer 101 calls. It also says that a new recording system has since been implemented to mitigate the risk of any future technical faults.
OK, Katie, thank you very much. Some of these other news now. Police in Glasgow have arrested and charged a man for allegedly holding up a sign expressing support for the banned organisation Palestine Action. The man they've arrested is believed to be veteran campaigner Sean Clarkin. Police say a 64-year-old man has been charged in connection with an offence under the Terrorism Act and is due to appear in court at a later date. And stars of the original BBC children's programme Balamori will revive their roles in a new series next year. Miss Hooley, PC Plum, Penny Pocket and Dee Dee McCready will return to our screens in the reboot alongside a host of new characters. The original hit programme from the early 2000s was inspired by the real-life Scottish town of Tobermory on the Isle of Mull. Now, hundreds of thousands of spectators and dozens of vessels from around the world. Things are gearing up for the tall ships races in Aberdeen this weekend. Many of the ships are arriving for what's being billed as Europe's largest free family event. Rebecca Curran has more.
A spectacular sight as the tall ships sail into Aberdeen. Nearly 50 vessels from around the world are dropping anchor here, marking the return of the races for the first time in nearly 3 decades.
These majestic vessels have slowly but surely been making their proud entrance into the harbour. Sails down, flags up, a true spectacle of seafaring tradition.
The Sorlana is the world's oldest fully rigged ship still in operation. Her Norwegian captain studied in Aberdeen and is delighted to be back.
It's maritime history, but most of all it's for the young people joining the ships. This is changing their life. If you go to sea with one of these ships for a week, it will have a major impact on you, I promise you.
From quayside to classroom, excitement has been building for weeks. At Hazelhead Primary, pupils are hitting the right notes, rehearsing the official Tall Ships anthem.
There's over 50 boats going to the tall ships race.
What are you most excited about seeing when the tall ships come to Aberdeen?
The ship that is kind of named after me, called the Alexander von Humboldt II.
What do you think happens when you're a sailor on the sea?
I think it's cold and smells a bit fishy.
As the final ships glide into port, the city is springing to life. The sailors are keeping themselves busy ahead of tomorrow's grand opening. From parades to performances, up to 400,000 visitors are expected.
It's just the most exciting time. Aberdeen's been waiting for this for 28 years. We've been planning for 2 years. We've got the support of all the local businesses, all our volunteers. We've got over 300 volunteers and sail trainees getting involved. It's absolutely brilliant.
Once the fleet is fully docked, the party really begins. It's hoped the forecasted rain tomorrow won't dampen spirits as Aberdeen plays host to its biggest sailing spectacle in a generation. Rebecca Curran reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Scotland will be a stronger team next season after their experiences this summer. That's according to head coach Gregor Townsend. His side finished their tour this morning with a 41-12 win over Samoa. They ran in 7 tries, bouncing back after that bruising defeat to Fiji last week. Gregor Townsend says the tour, coupled with the experience gained by his players touring with the British and Irish Lions, puts Scotland in a good place going into the autumn tests and next year's Six Nations.
You rise to a challenge and you show your true identity when you've got that challenge of backing up a defeat. And the players showed that tonight. I think the way they came together during the week with just a 6-day turnaround and 1 training session, they were really aligned and focused on delivering a better performance, and they did that. We've had a relatively positive season. We didn't get the results we wanted in the Six Nations, but the performances were right up there. And this tour and the experiences our players are getting on the lines will make us a stronger team going into next season.
Well, the rehearsals are over. Now it is the big one. Captain Maro Itoje will lead the Lions in the first test against Australia tomorrow. It's best of 3, so there's no room for error. 3 Scots start. The midfield partnership of Finn Russell, Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones that helped Scotland beat the Wallabies at Murrayfield in November. The bookies have made the Lions overwhelming favourites, but kicking coach Johnny Sexton says that means nothing in the cauldron of a Lions test match.
It either brings the best out of you, or you wilt under the pressure, and he's challenged us around that coming in. We don't pay too much attention to the bookies' odds or what people are saying. We're just concentrating on tomorrow and trying to put a great performance out there, because that's what it's going to be needed. A great performance, not a good performance, to beat this Australian team.
Scottish 1500 metre star Neil Gourley says he's not taking for granted the pretty rare opportunity to go head-to-head with fellow countrymen Josh Kerr and Jake Whiteman in front of a 60,000 sellout crowd at the London Diamond League this weekend. The trio, who have been a big part of what's been dubbed the golden generation of Scottish middle distance running, last went up against each other at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where Jake Whiteman claimed bronze.
It's probably the strongest sort of domestic field we've assembled over the 1500 metres in quite some time. So it's definitely no coincidence that the standard is so strong just in this one event, because we've all been pushing each other just to even be on the plane to a World Championships and Olympics, whatever it is. It definitely has brought out a better level in me, and I think that's an opinion that those other guys would share. So I think that's it really. We're kind of measuring against each other. With the purpose of look, if I can hang with these guys, then there aren't many people on this planet that I can't.
Yeah, and Laura, before I go, a bit of cycling news before I head and watch more of the golf. Kelso's Oscar Onley is up to 5th place overall at the Tour de France after coming 7th in the individual time trial today.
Brilliant, Lewis. Are you ready to go to the games one last time?
Oh, let's do it.
It's time, because the Island Games is coming to a close in Orkney after a week of sporting competition between 24 island communities across 12 sports. And as David Delday reports, it's left quite an impression on the local community and visitors alike.
The final day of competition and the action right in the heart of Kirkwall. The streets lined for this afternoon's town criterium. And the medals haven't stopped today. 2 golds for Orkney in the women's relays. The Western Isles women's half marathon team also victorious. From dancing orcas to dancing athletes, the past 7 days has seen one of the best spells of weather in living memory here. There's been friendships formed, culture shared, and islanders from around the world, celebrating all they have in common. Well, the game's creating special memories for many, particularly the medal winners. Orkney with its best ever tally, but it's an athlete from the Western Isles that's been one of the stars of the event. Cara Hanlon's 4 golds and a bronze, making her their most successful ever athlete. Representing her island, still as important as ever to the reigning British champion.
I think at the end of the day, I thought, what a perfect way to almost come back to something that's given me so much. I think, you know, if it wasn't for the Island Games, I wouldn't have gone on to have the success that I have had. And yeah, I owe the Island Games for that. Welcome!
900 volunteers have been key to the Games' delivery. With the curtain now about to come down, the focus turns to legacy.
I think the sport, of course, is what we're here for. We're here to develop sport in small islands, to give opportunities to islands who maybe don't have regular access to international sport. So we will see an increase in sport uptake. I'm sure there will be people in the crowd at the athletic stadiums and all of the other sporting events that think, I want to do that. And that's what we're about. But it's about the culture, the mixing of cultures, the friendships that are formed. There will be people that go away from this week with friends around the world, and they'll be friends for life.
There will be a proper island party in Kirkwall tonight. In 2 years, time to do it all again in the Faroe Islands.
Well, David is in Kirkwall for us tonight one last time. David, it has been quite the week in Orkney, hasn't it?
It really has, Laura. There has been a huge buzz here over the past 7 days. The event has had a huge impact on this community of 22,000. And I think the general consensus is that Orkney's never seen anything like it, and it won't ever see anything like it again. And on the sporting front, there's been some great performances as well, particularly from the home team. And there's been 26 Island Games records broken as well. And the star of the show, Orkney sprinter Taylor Patterson, 4 golds on the track. Well, I would imagine that the flags that you see behind me will be coming down tomorrow, but the memories created over the past week will live long into the future.
They certainly will, David. Enjoy the party tonight. Thank you. And the weather played ball all week. Let's see how it's looking here with Chris. Hello.
Not quite so good this weekend. Some very heavy rain on the way, Laura, but some lovely sunshine for some today. 25 degrees in St Andrews earlier. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening to you. Yes, we've had some pretty decent weather around today. If you had the sunshine, temperatures into the low to mid-20s. Same picture there across parts of the northwest with mid-20s temperatures in the afternoon. But elsewhere we've had cloud and a few showers, and that's the picture through the course of this evening and overnight. Those showers tending to fade away. Not quite as warm as last night, but still mild, 12 to 14 Celsius. Now tomorrow we do have some heavy and persistent rain on the way, and a Met Office yellow warning in force from around about mid to late afternoon. The wet weather will be heavy and persistent, but initially for many it's dry with some morning sunshine. Showers towards the west coast and through the Hebrides, then cloud builds and the showery rain arrives, pushing in towards the south and moving up the eastern side of the country, and it will turn increasingly heavy and persistent. Across the west it's a case of showers, the odd rumble of thunder with those, but in the east you can see that rain really quite heavy at times, falling on fairly dry ground, potentially some localised flooding. With the winds coming in from the east, southeast, best of the bright and dry weather in the northwest, still with 1 or 2 showers, and it's largely dry across Orkney and Shetland. As we head towards tomorrow evening, that rain really getting going, some poor conditions on the roads with the chance of localised flooding. It moves its way northwestwards as we head overnight, and tomorrow night quite a humid night, temperatures mid-teens for most. So it's an unsettled picture on Saturday. And Sunday's sort of similar, really. Low pressure with us once again, so that means a second round of some heavy rain. Initially focused across parts of the northeast, Tayside in towards Aberdeenshire and then drifting northwestward through Inverness and the northwest. Elsewhere dry and cloudy, but that cloud will thin and break. And actually the sunshine then will likely spark some heavy downpours here too. Temperatures 18 to 22 Celsius east to west. Some low cloud and heart around the east coast both days. Not great news for the tall ships races in Aberdeen. Some heavy rain arriving later in the day on Saturday. Sunday, thundery downpours. Monday, something drier, something brighter. perhaps 1 or 2 showers. Next week, low pressure is still with us, but you'll notice through the course of the week the winds become more westerly, so a bit more of a fresher feel to things. However, it is likely to remain unsettled. This is Monday, and once again you can see it's a case of showers, not as many nor as frequent as over the weekend, and temperatures high teens or low 20s. But really beyond that, you can see it is an unsettled picture with some showers, but equally some spells of sunshine at times, and hopefully a bit of a fresher feel, certainly compared with what we've seen of late. That's the forecast for now.
Chris, thank you so much. And now, tonight's main news again. A woman left brain damaged by a man she'd shared a few dates with says she feels she's been failed by Police Scotland as they were called to reports of him assaulting her twice in the space of just 24 hours. Today he was jailed for 9 years for attempted murder. That's it for now. I'll be back with your late news around 10:30 tonight. And remember, the news at 7 is getting underway on the BBC Scotland channel shortly. Amy is standing by with it. Until later though, from everyone here on the team, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Bye-bye.